For those of you who haven't been following along, I am reading 50 Shades of Grey. I'm on chapter 11. The reason I'm doing this is not because I'm a fan of putting myself through a lot of pain, but because I like to help other people out, and there's a lot of people who don't want to read the book but are kind of curious over what's going on in it. For those of you who don't remember, she just slept with Christian Grey, she just met his mom, and he'd given her the contract and sent her along her way. So she's at home. There are several papers inside the envelope. I fish them out, my heart still pounding, and I sit back on my bed and begin to read. The following are the terms of a binding contract between the dominant and the submissive. The fundamental purpose of this contract is to allow the submissive to explore her sensuality and her limits safely, with due respect and regard for her needs, her limits, and her well-being. The dominant and submissive enter into this contract on the commencement date, fully aware of its nature, and undertake to abide by its conditions without exception. Here's the thing. She's never been a submissive before. She doesn't really know what it all entails. How can you sign something like that without really fully knowing? I'm just skimming through, and it's basically the dominant shall take care of the submissive, terms 3 months. The dominant shall provide the submissive with all necessary training and guidance. The dominant shall maintain a stable and safe environment. The dominant may discipline the submissive as necessary to ensure the submissive fully appreciates her role. The submissive accepts the dominant as her master. The submissive shall obey the rules. Submissive shall serve the dominant in any way. The submissive shall take all measures necessary to maintain her good health. She'll go on the pill. She can't touch or pleasure herself without permission. She shall submit to any sexual activity demanded by the dominant and shall be without hesitation or argument. Demanded. I love it when people demand things of me. It always goes over really well. Submissive shall accept whippings, floggings, spankings, caning, paddling, or any other discipline. Well, of course she will, because she has no idea what that's going to be like. Masturbation, fellatio, vaginal intercourse, vaginal fisting, anal intercourse, anal fisting. Is swallowing semen acceptable to the submissive? Is the use of toys acceptable to the submissive? Vibrators, dildos, butt plugs, other. Is bondage acceptable to the submissive? Hands in front, hands behind back, ankles, knees, elbows, wrist to ankles, spreader bars, tied to furniture, blindfolding, gagging, bondage with rope, bondage with tape, bondage with leather cuffs, suspension, bondage with handcuffs, metal restraints. What is the submissive's general attitude about receiving pain? Where 1 is likes intensely and 5 is dislikes intensely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which of the following types of pain, punishment, discipline are acceptable to the submissive? Spanking, paddling, whipping, caning, biting, nipple clamps, genital clamps, ice, hot wax, other types, methods of pain. And then, we're back to Anastasia Steele and her reaction. Holy fuck, I can't bring myself to even consider the food list. I swallow hard, my mouth dry, and read it again. My head is buzzing. How could I possibly agree to all this? I shudder at the thought of being flogged or whipped. Spanky probably wouldn't be so bad. Humiliating, though. Well, he did tie my hands together. That was, well, it was hot, really hot, so perhaps that won't be so bad. The only man I've ever been attracted to, and he comes with a bloody contract, a flogger, and a whole world of issues. Well, at least I got my way this weekend. I flushed at the memory of his hands and his mouth on me, his body inside mine. His whole body was inside hers? Then she goes to sleep, and Kate wakes her up the next day. A man has come with a delivery, and she has to sign for it. And it's a MacBook Pro! Yay! She gets a computer! She has an email from Christian Grey. Nervously, she opens it. Dear Miss Steele, I trust you slept well. I hope that you put this laptop to good use as discussed. I slept very well, thank you. For some strange reason, sir, I understood that this computer was on loan, ergo not mine. Almost instantaneously he responds. The computer is on loan. Indefinitely, Miss Steele. I note from your tone that you have read the documentation I gave you. Do you have any questions so far? Her tone of her email? He might be reading into things. I have many questions, but not suitable for email, and some of us have to work for a living. Not very submissive of her, now is it? I dress quickly, shout a hasty goodbye to Kate, and then she's off to work. And then when she gets home, she has another email from Christian Grey. I do hope you had a good day at work, Christian Grey. Sir, I had a very good day at work, thank you. Gee, with emails like this, I'm riveted to my edge of my seat. Miss Steele, stop emailing me and do your assignment. I'd like to award another A. The first one was so well deserved. Christian Grey just sent me a winking smiley. Oh my! I fire up Google. Mr. Grey, what would you suggest I put into a search engine? Miss Steele, always start with Wikipedia. No more emails unless you have questions, understood? I type submissive into Wikipedia. Oh my! Some of this stuff is hot. But is it for me? Holy shit, could I do this? I need space. I need to think. And that is the end of chapter 11 of 50 Shades of Grey. Just details the contract, the same crap that we already knew, and then some really boring email conversations. Then she Wikipedia'd submissive. And she thinks some of it sounds hot? but some of it sounds scary. And I'll see you all again next week for another edition of That Girl Tyson.
General quarters, all hands man your battle stations, all hands man your battle stations.
A very moist and integral part of me